Imagine standing in the middle of a bustling Roman street nearly 1,000 years ago. The air is filled with a mix of dust, smoke, and the smell of fresh bread from nearby bakeries. Merchants shout to sell their wares: silk from the east, fine pottery from Gaul, exotic spices from lands you've never heard of. Soldiers march in formation, their armor glinting under the sun, shields clanging together with every step. Children dart between the crowds, chasing chickens or tossing coins into the fountains. And somewhere in a grand hall that overlooks the city, rulers and officials debate decisions that will shape the lives of thousands, maybe millions, of people. Most people today think of the Roman Empire as an unstoppable force of generals, battles, and grand conquests. They imagine grand marble palaces, endless wealth, and armies that conquer without pause. But the reality, especially in the Middle Ages, is far more complicated. By this time, Rome isn't the same golden city of marble and glory that most imagine. Its streets are quieter, its power more fragmented, and yet, the echoes of its past still shape the world in ways you might not even realize. Welcome to Echoes of Times, where we bring history's hidden stories back to life. And today, we're diving deep into the Middle-Age Roman Empire. But before we continue, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a chance to uncover history's secrets. The Roman Empire that once stretched across continents is no longer a single unified entity. Instead, what remains is a patchwork of territories, struggling to maintain order amid constant pressure from invading tribes and the slow decay of internal systems. In the West, cities that once thrived on trade, culture, and education are shrinking. Buildings crumble, streets fall into disrepair, the markets are no longer bustling with exotic goods as they once were. People are leaving the countryside, seeking protection behind the walls of fortified towns. Local warlords rise in the void left by emperors whose authority has become symbolic at best. These lords, often ruthless, are the new rulers, and loyalty is no longer a matter of law or empire, it's a matter of survival. Meanwhile, in the East, the situation is different. The Eastern Roman Empire, which we now call the Byzantine Empire, continues to survive. Its capital, Constantinople, shines like a beacon of civilization, a city of immense wealth, culture, and strategic importance. It holds on to Roman traditions, the rule of law, and the Christian faith. Even as the world outside its walls changes rapidly, the contrast between the struggling West and the resilient East is stark, yet it demonstrates how the legacy of Rome refuses to vanish completely. Life during this era is far from easy, especially for ordinary people. Farmers wake up before sunrise to tend their fields, often using techniques that are centuries old. They pay heavy taxes to rulers who live hundreds of miles away and who they may never see. Soldiers march for weeks or months on end, defending borders against groups like the Goths, Vandals, and Huns, who themselves are desperate for survival and expansion. The Mediterranean, once controlled with an iron fist by Roman fleets, has become dangerous. Pirates roam freely, and local rebellions disrupt trade routes, making it difficult for merchants to transport goods safely. The military, which once struck fear into the hearts of enemies, is now stretched thin. Armies are smaller, less disciplined, and often made up of mercenaries who fight not out of loyalty, but for gold. Despite these hardships, Roman culture refuses to disappear. Latin continues as the language of law, religion, and scholarship. Roman architecture still shapes the appearance of cities. The ideas of citizenship, governance, and law continue to influence leaders far beyond the empire's borders. Even as political power wanes, the cultural and intellectual influence of Rome remains potent. Religion begins to take an even more central role in society during this period. Christianity, which was once persecuted under emperors like Nero and Diocletian, has become the guiding force for much of the population. Bishops and religious leaders hold authority rivaling that of kings. Monasteries and churches are not only spiritual centers, but also the guardians of knowledge. Scribes meticulously copy manuscripts, preserving books, scrolls, and documents that might have otherwise been lost to time. It is in these quiet, candlelit halls that the fusion of Roman law, culture, and Christian ideals begins to define the Europe of the future. The very concepts of governance, justice, and protection are evolving, influenced as much by religious leaders as by emperors. Meanwhile, in the West, The collapse of centralized Roman authority gives rise to feudalism. Lords take control of lands, offering protection to peasants in exchange for labor, goods, and loyalty. Small castles dot the countryside, serving both as homes for the powerful and fortresses to protect the weak. Roads that were once maintained by Roman engineers now carry merchants, pilgrims, and wandering scholars. Trade never fully disappears. Markets still exist, with goods exchanged across towns and regions. Silk from the east, grain from North Africa, and pottery from Gaul circulate, keeping a fragile network alive. Civic life, once organized under a single empire, now relies on local allegiances, family ties, and mutual obligations. These networks, although different from the Roman ideal, ensure that the legacy of Roman organization and law continues in a new form. One of the most fascinating aspects of this period is the survival of the Eastern Roman Empire. Constantinople, positioned strategically between Europe and Asia, becomes a fortress city, rich in culture, wealth, and military power. Its massive walls are nearly impregnable, and its navy dominates the surrounding seas. Emperors, such as Justinian, the first attempt to restore the glory of old Rome. He rebuilds monumental structures like Hagia Sophia, codifies centuries of Roman law into the famous Justinian Code, and dispatches armies to reconquer territories in Italy, North Africa, and beyond. These military campaigns are expensive and dangerous. Yet they reveal a determination to maintain the legacy of Rome. Even in a world of shifting power, the idea of Rome as a civilization of law, culture, and strength continues to inspire. But survival is never guaranteed. The Middle-Age Roman Empire faces constant threats on multiple fronts. In the east, Persian armies and later Arab forces test its borders. In the west, the remnants of Rome are divided into numerous kingdoms, often at war with one another. Economic decline, repeated plagues, and social unrest make daily life unpredictable and precarious. Yet even amidst chaos, there is innovation. Art and architecture flourish, particularly in religious institutions. Scholars preserve knowledge, keeping the flame of learning alive. The empire's administrative and legal systems, refined over centuries, continue to influence rulers throughout Europe. Even as political might diminishes, Rome's cultural and intellectual influence remains a guiding force, shaping diplomacy, law, and warfare for generations to come. Stories from this era are not just about emperors and armies, they are about resilience and adaptation. Ordinary people develop techniques to improve agriculture, merchants establish trade networks stretching across continents, and scholars preserve and transmit knowledge for future generations. The influence of Rome is no longer measured by conquest, but by the endurance of its ideas. Its vision of civilization, a balance of law, culture, and faith, continues to inspire rulers, thinkers, and ordinary citizens alike. Rome becomes less about controlling lands and more about preserving a way of life, a model for governance, culture, and moral order that will echo for centuries. The Middle-Age Roman Empire teaches a profound lesson. Power is not only measured in armies or territory, but in the strength of ideas, institutions, and the ability to adapt. Even when large portions of the empire fall, its influence persists. Modern law, religious institutions, city planning, and governance all carry traces of Roman civilization. Echoes of Times brings these lessons to life, reminding us that history is not merely a collection of dates and battles. It is a story of people, decisions, and legacies that continue to influence our world. As our journey through the Middle-Age Roman Empire comes to an end, one thing is clear: Rome's story is far from simple. It is a tale of survival, adaptation, and enduring influence. From the crumbling streets of the Western territories to the thriving fortified city of Constantinople in the east, the empire evolves, survives, continues to shape the world. Understanding this period helps us see the profound impact of Rome's legacy on politics, culture, and society, even today. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Middle-Age Roman Empire, don't forget to leave a comment sharing your thoughts. What fascinates you most about Roman history, the battles, the laws, or the culture? Share this video with friends who love history as much as you do. Every like, comment, and share helps Echoes of Times continue bringing the forgotten stories of the past to life. Remember, history may belong to the past, but its echoes resonate in the world around us. And understanding it gives us a window into how civilizations endure, adapt, and inspire.